So what was the inspiration behind this game?
Alright, so I'm a very experimental designer. I've played games all my life, so since I was like 18 months old, and I started getting a bit sick of them. And so this game started by, you know, like right now we've got no gun, and the reason for that is because I started to saying to people, what would happen if you took a first-person shooter and you removed the ability to shoot? And most players, when I said that, would be like, well, you can't do anything. You know, you can't shoot anything, that's your key interaction. And I said, that's not true at all. You can still run around, you've got all your maneuverability, you can look. So I started making this really big interactive world that was really using motion and sight. And the geometry side of things started because this started as the first game I ever wanted to make. I just wanted to make Snake, you know? And so rather than having a snake moving around eating food, if you make that, you're not going to ever extend beyond Snake. So instead, I took the idea of pixels and related them to tiles and had your player running around on a floor full of tiles where the tiles would eat away and then come back. And then I had to look at that and go, well, I'm in Unreal, my player can jump. What happens if I, you know, jump and break my snake? What happens if I've got my gun and I start shooting all of the floor? And then I sort of turned it into this big arena combat kind of game that was all about selling the dynamic geometry system. But arena combat wasn't enough to really communicate all of the ideas effectively to people. So I moved off to a puzzle game. Puzzles weren't really doing it either. So I then moved off to a game about choices. Players really liked that, but they said, the game's great and all, but like, why am I playing? Where am I going? So then as a design solution, I started putting philosophy into the game, and then it started really resonating with people. They're like, hey, now I get it. I'm running around through this big simulation of life and I'm learning a whole lot of things. And then I made the entire game, this metaphor for life. And it was just all this one little, you know, progress of experimental ideas that I just really wanted to make work. To me, even this entire game, even making this game, was just one big learning experience about life for me, because when I started making this, I was just a student. So I wanted to see what I was capable of as a student. You know, I used to look at things and say, well, 20 years ago, someone like Jordan Mechner could make Prince of Persia by himself, and I wanted to see if I was capable of that. The game started developing, I started going, alright, I'm totally capable of that. Now let's set my sights higher. Let's look at people like, you know, Pepe Puro, Kyle Gable, Jonathan Blow. I don't see how I'm any different to any of those developers, because all they did was they made something really awesome and they kept putting themselves out there. And so that's why I've now gone to all these different conferences. That's why I'm now here. You know, I'm sort of elevating to their level. The next step really is, can I sell an epic art game about life?
Yes. The answer.
That's the answer. The answer is yes, because it's amazing.
That's great.